you implemented VR with Virgin.
Yes, of course.
Meet Chris Doughty, Head of Immersive Experiences at the award-winning design agency Seymourpowell.
Personally think I've got the best job in the world.
He's the self-proclaimed chief geek in charge, and we'll explore his innovative work in the tech industry, including VR for Virgin Galactic interior design.
Being able to stand up and walk around a space, it changed completely. This is the future.
Work continues at Virgin Galactic to realise its goal of reusable spaceflight.
How do you define AI? What is AI to you?
Now you could just go to ChatGPT and it'll give you more specific answers. It's an expert on everything.
Should we develop non-human minds smarter than our own?
We also discuss the future of AI in product design, teaching students how to use them. If they don't do that, then the gap is just going to be so wide, it's going to almost be useless. As well as play a designer versus AI guessing game. There's at least one AI generated here, which is real, which is AI.
I'm hoping that's AI, C's real. Well, I'm so sorry to the designer. I'm so sorry. I'm so...
Hello, Chris Doughty.
Hello.
We are here in Seymourpowell in London, and it's great to be here and to have a chance to speak to you. So just tell us then, what is your current role at Seymourpowell, and day to day, what exactly is your role?
Yeah, well, I personally think I've got the best job in the world. So my technical term is Head of Immersive Experiences. Yep. I sort of term myself as the chief geek in charge, and a large part of my role is just finding new technologies, experimenting with them. So it's like getting virtual reality headsets, depth sensors, different plugins for software, and just trying all the different things that might be interesting that our clients could use, and just seeing what their limitations are, push them to limits, and exploring how we could use those elements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know a lot about what immersive design or immersive experiences are, just give us some examples of what immersive is to you.
Yes. It's funny, because the term immersive is such a vague term, and I'm totally aware of that. Because, you could argue a book is a form of immersive technology. Yeah. It's all about the art of good storytelling. And that's totally true. Generally speaking, it's anything between three main items, and it's augmented reality, virtual reality, and physical installations. That's generally where everything comes under, and we sort of specialize in all of them.
Yeah.
So virtual reality is obviously just like headsets that you wear, and it's being fully immersed in a virtual space. Yeah. Augmented reality is mobile phone-based versions of that, and they're kind of syncing now with virtual reality, so that's becoming mixed reality, becoming one thing. Yeah. And then the physical interactions is using that sort of depth sensing technology to understand users' interactions in a natural space, and then bringing that into something that's actually physical and tangible, which is a big interest of mine as well.
Yeah, so I think that especially on the VR AR side of things, or mixed reality, as you now put it, because they are converging. Can you talk to us about how you implemented VR with Virgin?
Yes, of course. Yeah. So before we started with Virgin, we'd never done we hadn't done much virtual reality, and then there was this headset that was released called the HTC Vive. Yes. We had a shot on that, and it was a game changer for the technology. Being able to stand up and walk around a space, it changed it completely from this sort of seated experience from the Oculus. And the moment that happened is I personally went all in. I was like, this is the future. We'd had an experiment with this thing called Google Tilt Brush, where you could draw in 3D space. We thought this is really interesting, but it wasn't really useful for us as designers. So I just went off on my own back and just designed a virtual reality drawing tool, which is a lot more technical focused. So you could do parametric modeling, you could create meshes, do splines, and we're just using this as an in-house tool. And then quickly realized that you could actually then have it networked. So we've got an office up in Scotland, the guys down here in London. We could both be in this headset space and see and talk to each other whilst talking over this 3D version of the drawings. So we developed this tool. The Virgin Galactic had got in touch with us in regards about helping them redesign the spaceship interior. And obviously they're based out in the States, and it made perfect sense to use this tool that we developed in-house to help with that process. So yeah, we would hold live design meetings in virtual reality across the world at different locations. And this is like way back, 6 years ago, before the metaverse was even sort of mentioned on most people's lips.
Yeah.
And it was, extremely, extremely useful.
Yeah. And that VR implementation, how has that now been implemented into the current Virgin Galactic? Is it exactly the same? How has that been implemented?
Well, exactly that. So the finished article, so we were using it to go through design iterations of how the interior would look. So that obviously that developed as it went. The seat changed and the materials changed. Then we got a sort of finished locked model. And when they were launching it back in 2020, they had a virtual reveal, because obviously we're in lockdown at that point. So it was, it was COVID. And that became then a public-facing launch tool for it.
Yeah.
So you could we hosted press members, all the celebrities that paid lots of money to go to space. They got sent out headsets, and then they could put these on, and then we could take them a tour around that virtual spaceship.
Yeah. So it was used to really as a great way from an immersive point of view to show what the experience like, essentially as a sales tool or via the immersion.
Exactly that. It gave them an introduction to the experience that they were going to go on as if they were at the spaceport and into the spaceship.
Yeah.
But then it also gave them, we built a museum effectively with all the different elements of the project that they could sort of walk around. So it was like a big, large virtual museum, and it was really useful to sort of get a sense of the experience that they were going to go on. Yeah,
amazing case study implementation for VR. Apart from just gaming, let's say, which is cool, but I think it's a really good example. When we think about immersion or immersive experiences, like as you mentioned, I mean, in your opinion, what is the future? Where is it heading towards, and what types of problems do you think you'll be addressing?
It's a good question. So, Apple have just announced this mixed reality headset. That's definitely the direction everyone's going. It's just going to take a long time. The technology, I think it's fantastic. I love it. But there are challenges with it right now. It's quite low resolution. So even the headset that Apple are going to release, it's quite bulky. It only lasts 2 hours. Yeah. It's not going to be an iPhone moment. It's almost like when they released the brick back in the 80s. It's like there's a mobile phone. Not everyone's going to have it, and this is going to change the world. Just not quite yet. The technology really has to catch up. Remote rendering, the size of the headsets have to come down. That aside, that's 100% the future. Like spatial computing is the next level. We've always been gearing, since the dawn of computing, when they used to be the size of rooms, they've just been getting it smaller, smaller, and smaller to the point where it's on your phone. Yes. And then it's just about making it more natural for you, so that it's just, instead of interacting with it through a mouse or through your touch, it's just through your natural interactions. And that's what's happening. So it's basically just, it'll effectively be like just goggles on your face. Yeah. That will just be ubiquitous for everyone.
Yeah. We're here in London in the UK. Yes. In your opinion, from what you see, how prominent, is the UK within, this immersion space? Is it a growing area of expertise, with regards to immersion and?
Well, I think London in particular, there's lots of companies doing, fantastic things. We're definitely on the global stage there. Yeah. And I think, us, at Seymourpowell, we're, a lot of the companies focus on entertainment, but we're more focused on the business side, always have been. And it's been challenging to get people to the same level where I was mentally, of like how game-changing it's going to be for people. We're at that stage now where I think people are starting to see that value. I mean, COVID was a big sort of shift for that. People sort of understood the value of, instead of being on Teams, being in a virtual Teams where you could actually feel as if you're in a virtual environment with live models in front of you. Made a big change.
Yeah, implementation, of VR is an interesting one, because it's, almost limitless in its kind of capabilities. So the challenge, I guess, is always around trying to hone in on for a client or a customer or implementation, actually what that can be.
100%. It's like, with great power comes great responsibility almost.
Yeah.
When you have unlimitless power to do anything, it's very challenging to bring a client back down.
Yeah.
And also for ourselves, for our own aspirations, we will always want to be pushing it to that level to get the most out of the headset as we can.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge that we're still working with now, I think.
Yeah. And how do you get to that kind of aha moment with with clients, because it's one of those things that you can talk about it or kind of have that 2D discussion, but as soon as you get that that real immersion experience, then they're like the penny drops, right? So this is my experience. How do you get to that?
Well, we developed our own in-house sort of a showcase tool, which was a virtual reality headset-based one, and we'd ship it off to clients, and we'd invite them to this virtual meeting. Instantly, it was something different from a Teams meeting, so they'll accept that meeting.
Yes.
And the other thing it does is it sort of locks your attention away. So if you're in Teams, sometimes people, you can see it, they're obviously checking their email or keeping up on other things. Whereas as soon as you've got a headset on, you're in that space fully. You're fully immersed, and the second that you actually try it on and actually experience it, it changes people's minds very quickly. Very quickly.
Completely agree. That's actually what happened to myself. So just move the conversation over to AI.
Yes.
This is, of course, a very very big subject right now. I think, not only within the creative sector, creative and design, but I mean, almost, politically and everything
change the
else.
world.
Yeah. The fact, that you're in, this immersive space, and ultimately, AI is going to be part of this, right? When we're talking about AR and VR and everything else in between. I mean, in your opinion, how do you define AI? What is AI to you?
Well, there's sort of two levels for me. There's the overarching one where it's like a super intelligent computer that exceeds human intelligence. And then there's just automation, and that's just getting rid of, removing the human element to certain tasks. And that's been going on, forever, and I think that's what's happened with the current implementation of AI is it was just such a shock to the system for people because they just didn't understand how advanced it was. And I got caught off guard as well. And it was last year when I started experimenting with Midjourney where it really hit home. I'd seen these, I think it was Imagen was the original Google one where they could, type in, make a dog in the sky, and it had this pixelated dog and it looked just a bit weird. So it just, sort of disregarded it. Yeah. But as soon as, Midjourney was launched and it changed to version 4, the jump it made was astounding. I've never been caught off guard more in my life. I think the last sort of technology amazement moment was when the iPhone was released, and I remember, people were gasping because you could do multi-touch, literally. I think that's insane. Just being able to pinch and zoom an image. But that was paled in comparison to what happened when I watched the Midjourney stuff.
Yeah, we'll actually talk about Midjourney and kind of the outputs of using AI within design, and just touching on that kind of having that impact of the leap in technology. I agree. I come from a mobile phone background. It's only happened 3 times for me. Yeah. Once was just before our iPhone, was when the Motorola Razr come out. At that time it was all about size and weight and thinness, and the Razr was just. When I first saw it, I just thought it was a model. Like how a concept car would look like today, but it was real. And it was so thin, and obviously the way that it was designed. Of course, the iPhone as well. I remember I got the iPhone when it first come out. I was actually in Taiwan, and I got it, and it was such a strange feeling. I had this phone when everyone obviously had candid, but with buttons, physical buttons. I felt embarrassed almost that the technology was so far advanced.
Yeah.
I'd be like a bit embarrassed to show people. It was very strange.
I 100% agree. I remember when like even the iPad came out, and that was a case of like if you were on a tube and you had an iPad and you were doing these overly gesture swipes, it was just like bizarre. Whereas obviously it's completely accepted now. But it was just so far ahead. Yeah.
Of course we've always been aware of AI, and I think that is that moment where it become really kind of mainstream. I would say, and bearing in mind that effect, it is probably now come into the public domain as a concept.
Yes.
Much more than just engineers or designers or whatever technical. I mean, from what you've seen, how do you see this impacting? What is the biggest impact of AI? Obviously through ChatGPT and what
It's like everything that you would almost expect Google used to be, where you could just ask a computer questions. It's almost like that's what Google sort of was, but now you could just go to ChatGPT and it'll give you more specific answers. It's a much better conduit to the world's knowledge because you can talk to it as if it's a person, and it's an expert on everything. Or I wouldn't say an expert, that's not quite right. In its current implementation, it's like sort of like a 6 out of 10, but it's more expert than you are. So you can have like knowledge to different industries very, very quickly. And instantly, it's very usable. I remember sort of telling my wife about it, and she was like, "That sounds ridiculous." Then used it a couple of times. Then she used it every day now, and literally it's just as like an expert in her pocket. It's got the concern that it's going to make people lazy, a little bit like autocorrect for spelling. Like I probably can't spell anymore, and I wonder if it's going to stop people's ability just to think because they could just ask ChatGPT for advice on things. So there's a slight concern there. But I think generally as a tool, it's fantastic.
And I mean generally for AI, of course it can be used creatively. It can obviously for advertising. And also within medical, lots of different areas.
I think that was one of the biggest shocks, was just the fact that it could replicate creativity, or seemingly replicate creativity, and that was actually shocking to me. Like you can give it creative briefs and it'll give you convincing answers, which is worrying for the future. For sure. I think a lot of people have seen that and thought, considered not their positions, but how it's going to affect their positions in the future.
Yeah. Where do you see AI then being a threat, particularly in the creative or the design process?
I see it as being a threat for it oversimplifies what it could do. So, for instance, if you're talking to a client, they're going to devalue what you could do if on the face of it, it looks like they can just do it by typing a few words into a computer. That's a massive worry for us. We were at a client's office, and they're fully aware they were doing images, and you could see it already that that sort of shift was happening. You could see how they could think, well, why would I pay a company to make images when I can have that created for me? So I think that's the biggest concern for the industry. But I think everyone should be we've all got access to the same tools, and I think it's about how you use them. And it does, there's this thing called prompt engineering. It's about how you talk to the AI to get the image that you want. And that's where it starts falling down a little bit, because it's sometimes very difficult to get precisely what you want. It's very easy to get something that looks good. Sure, you can get, type in any word and it's just like hitting roulette and you'll get a nice image out. But if you really want to like tweak that image and get something very specific, at the moment, it's actually quite difficult. And some things it just can't do.
What do you think AI can't do, particularly in the in the design, the industrial design development process?
Well, exactly that. I mean, it's not taking into consideration any of the manufacturing. It's just going to make a nice image. But that is like an extremely useful part of the design process. When any brief comes in, the first thing a designer is going to do is sketch. They're just going to get their pens out and they're just going to go through hundreds of ideas. Some are just to explore a thought, and then it leads on to something else. And I think that's where image generation is useful because you can just generate that really quickly, and it gets it to a level where it can then spark out other ideas. So it's like, as an idea generation tool, that's fantastic. At the moment, you still need someone who has that knowledge to then see how you can convert that into something that can actually be built, and all those other considerations.
Yeah.
I think the joining up of sort of other technologies, that might actually occur, that it does become more automated. You know, it does seem possible that can happen later on. You also have, like, you know, generative design, which I think is super exciting as well. Just the ability to, with set restrictions, design certain objects. So, like, you know, if you had a bottle and it had to be 500 mils and you wanted it to look like different things, you could just generate it and it can do those models. That's, you know, super exciting as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that it can eventually take into consideration things like design for manufacture, or, you know, design thinking that a human knows?
The thing is, before I would have said no chance, but I think it will. Like, just give it enough time. I actually think it will, for sure. Once you have, you know, they're moving towards AGI, which is, you know, artificial general intelligence, and then it's going to be ASI. And once you have that, of course, it's going to be more intelligent than any human being ever, and so it will be able to take all these factors into consideration. And you can almost see all the different pieces of the jigsaw being made right now, and it's just going to wait. You know, when it gets to critical mass, when it all joins together, you know, it's definitely going to affect every industry like that.
So on that note, just you know, based on I was doing a bit of research, and particularly around the design process, and we talked about you know, using AI for regenerative AI on the design process, using Midjourney and prompts, as you mentioned. I got a few things here that
I'm really excited about this. I'm
really
really excited. Yeah.
Chris, we're going to play a game.
I'm ready.
Okay, I call it AI, real or fake. Okay, so we just made this game up. I think it's brilliant. So I'm going to show you some images, and this is actually taking us through kind of the typical, like, design process, right? So we're going to start with mood boards. Okay. And so I'm going to show you, first of all, 3 images here. Okay. And we've got, put it in order, A, B, C. Which do you think is generated by AI, and which do you believe is real, created by humans?
Right. Okay. I really want to do the humans proud on this one. Right, I need to have a little
Unless you are AI.
Yeah.
Then you're AI.
You know what? That's so difficult. I'm going to go... The thing is, they all could be... I know what Midjourney can do, so I'm going to have to be quick on it. I'm going to go... So there's 3 here. So am I just picking out one that's AI or one that's...
Tell us which you think is AI, and which you think is real.
All right. I'm just going to go AI, real.
Okay, the answer is AI, real.
I was toying with that one, the middle one as well. Damn it.
Yeah. Not bad.
Okay.
Well done. Now, this is one of my favourites.
Okay.
If you thought that you found that one difficult, wait till you see this. This is genius. So, what typically, you know, within the design process would be the concept stage, early stage concept.
Sure. Yeah.
And let me just, which is, you know, your generation. Now, actually, I will have to say, 100%, there is at least one AI generated here, at least one, which is real and which is AI.
Okay, sure. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to analyze. So I'm going to go straight for, I think, B is AI.
Okay.
Just because everything's squares. I don't know, it just looks, it smells of Midjourney to me. I'm also going to go for A. Is that a picture? Because I've seen this a few I actually think that's real. So I'll go with what I actually think. I think A is real. I'd
As
say...
in human.
A human.
A's human.
A's human. B's AI. And then C is AI. And let's see. Is that... I think D is AI as well.
Okay, so AI.
Damn you.
You were right. AI.
Yeah.
AI. Human.
Oh. It's way off.
Yeah.
Way off.
I mean, for me, this was the most mind-bending
Yeah.
thing about this, because I generally thought that, you know, we're talking about, you know, multiple, especially this iterations, but not at the sketching phase, and yeah, you can actually generate through prompts different sketches and almost, well, not almost, you also the color of the pencil and stuff like this.
Yeah, and you know, it includes
amazing.
a table, so it feels like it's a photo of a sketch. You know, that's what threw me
Yeah.
off. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, and I knew I was toying with it. But it's incredible. It really is incredible. Yeah.
Carry on.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, this one is as we move through. Normally, we're doing, you know, the more renderings, more detailed renderings, right?
Okay.
Okay, so we got we've got 3 here actually. So again, which do you think was generated by AI and which is generated by a human?
Okay.
Put that one around actually.
So
Sorry, way around.
going for C smells of AI just seems a bit
Yeah.
odd. Just seems a bit odd. Now, normally they really struggle with logos, so I think this is real. So that one being B, and
Yes.
then A. I think that looks real to me. That looks real. Yeah. So I'm gonna say real, fake.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Well done, Chris. We do need you after all. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think a very good point about
The
logo.
It just struggles with logos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just can't do that. And then this
Yeah.
one was the same one repeated with different colors. So you would have had to
Yes.
have actually edited that to make it.
Yeah.
So that was more just
Very
like
well
reverse
spotted.
engineering from what I know
Yes.
about Midjourney.
Yeah.
But the fact is Midjourney could do apart from the logo and the multiple colors, it could do that design, and it would have
Yeah.
fooled me 100%.
Yeah.
This one just looks super odd.
Yeah.
That it's just
Yeah.
There's lots of that weird
Yeah.
stuff that
Yeah.
only a computer could make.
I was being kind to you.
Yeah.
Just, you know, give you a bit of confidence, you know. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. I am feeling confident now.
You aced that one.
Yeah.
You aced that one. Okay, so this one, we're going with, more kind of multiple concepts, because we know multiple concepts are
Thank you.
thing. We're going, once we go into more detailed design. So, yeah, again, which is AI generated, which is human generated.
Okay, I'm gonna go and say D has to be AI because I don't think I'd want that as a webcam if that's what that is. So I'm hoping that's AI. C's real. A I think it looks real, but I think it is AI. And then B I'm gonna say is real because it feels real to me.
Wow. Okay. This is AI.
Right. Yeah.
This is AI.
Oh.
This is human.
Oh no! Well, I'm so sorry to the designer. I'm so sorry. I'm so
Shame.
Shame.
And this is real.
Yeah.
Human.
Wow.
Okay, and that's got logo on it. So actually. All right.
Okay.
That's interesting. Very good. That's a great design, by the way. Whoever designed that. Fantastic.
Yeah. Don't listen to me. I know nothing.
I bought one yesterday.
But that was a great game.
Yeah, I
Love
enjoyed
that.
it. It's brilliant. That was the best research I think I've ever done. So, look, I think it's, you know, what we're seeing here is obviously the ability to generate that level of, initial concept. Of course, this is a great way just to find direction, right? Like you said, you can go from literally a baby sketch to a model. Probably in a day.
Yeah.
Actually, not probably. You can.
Yeah.
with today's printing, 3D printing technologies, that is becoming a lot harder to detect, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think, educators is going to really struggle with that. How are you going to prove that a bit of work is done by someone, you know, and I do wonder if they are going to have to start doing live demonstrations of work, you know, where someone literally sits behind you as you do a 3D model or as you're sketching, or maybe it's videoed, but from the actual digital copy, you know, like the JPEG that's sent out, it's almost impossible to tell. So it's going to be a big struggle, a very big struggle.
My worry is not necessarily, you know, AI taking human jobs, although that is obviously a consideration. It's because typically when you're in education, it's just behind. Yeah, you know, I think there are lots of reasons for that. You know, the people that are in that educational are normally they're kind of seasoned professionals, and they may have kind of stopped keeping up.
Yeah, they're using outdated software. Yeah.
Right. And
techniques, I suppose.
Yeah, and the gap was always big anyway when you graduate to the real world. Yeah. Right. Especially in tech or anything creative. Yeah. Right. Whereas now, if education doesn't take on these tools and has a way to get the right balance between teaching students how to use them, and then obviously tracking how that process. If they don't do that, then the gap is just going to be so wide, it's going to almost be useless. Well,
the other problem is why would you even go?
Well, yeah.
You know, why would you even go at all? You know, it's devalued that completely, and they must be, you know, extremely scared of that. You know.
Yeah.
If you can generate something just from text.
Yeah.
Why would you feel the need to spend money to do that?
Yeah.
So that's a bigger concern, I think, for them. Yeah. And they need to sort out. But being on top of the tools, I mean, like you say, it always just seems that they are behind. And even before AI, just being able to, what you can learn just from online, you know, YouTube, for instance, you know, you can teach yourself pretty much anything, you know, from that. So it's they've got big problems. Yeah.
So on that bombshell, thanks very much, you know, for taking the time to speak to us, Chris. It's been really, really interesting, and thoroughly enjoyed your insights and spending the time with you today. So thanks.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Cheers.
Pleasure. We're going to play a game, we call it AI versus human.
This does look the most realistic.
Yeah, I mean, the short answer is we're completely just guessing.
Well done. Don't think about it too much. Okay, so this is what?
AI.